Hey, what's up everyone? So this is Eddy04 today, and I'll be building a gaming PC that one of my friends asked me for. He has been having like multiple years with his older PC. He has been having some issues, being able to play with some artifacts and stuff. So let me just go ahead and get the build components, and then from there we can start talking a little bit about that. I've been out of YouTube for a while now, so I'm trying to get back on track. So I'll start by just going ahead and do this build. Now, unfortunately, I don't have that much time to be editing videos, so I'm going to go ahead and just live stream this, and then you can just, have a treat, I guess. Are you sure? You sure I'm not live? I should be. Let me see. So if I go to YouTube and you go to my YouTube account.
It's always a fantastic.
Oh, I gotta watch this afterwards. Let's see. So in theory, OBS says that I'm live, but YouTube says something else. So let's figure that out.
You're recording?
I'm not really recording. I'm just live streaming. I do have some drives. Yeah, it says live, but YouTube says something else. So there you go. Let's figure that out.
Where it is?
Just go to the channel. You go to my channel. Yeah, it should show up. Eddy04tv.
Ah.
I'm really recording. I'm just live streaming. Oh, you were going somewhere else. I know. All right. So I'm gonna keep my phone here because that way I can see your chats. Just go to the channel. You go to, yeah, it should show up. Eddy04tv. Oh, you were going somewhere else. I know. All right. So I'm gonna keep my phone here because that way I can see. Okay, so like I was saying, I haven't been on YouTube for a while, so I'm trying to get back to YouTube. To be honest, I'm having a hard time trying to edit videos, just I guess time constraints. So what I'm doing today is I am building a gaming PC for a friend. I haven't been doing this for a while now. I don't do commissions for building PCs or anything like that, but he asked me. He's been having like probably 3 years maybe, or a little bit more, that he has been having artifacts and issues with his GPU. He plays Call of Duty and a couple of other PC games. The thing is that since the day that he has his PC, that he got his PC, he has just been struggling, I guess. So he decided that he did not want to use an ATI GPU anymore. So I did tell him, hey, look, if you want to probably get a good build for an okay price, you can probably go AMD Ryzen for the CPU. That way you kind of save a little bit of dough on the CPU side, but then you invest a little bit more on the GPU, and that's where we ended up getting an NVIDIA graphics card. So we're going to be using this Asus Dual RTX 3060. I know it's not the 40X versions, but 3060 I think is quite good, at least for what he's playing. Call of Duty is kind of tricky sometimes, but with this you'll be able to play, I believe, anything 2024 and prior years, and most likely for the next 2 to 3 more years this GPU should be going strong. Also, we got obviously RAM. We got a Corsair RAM here. This one took a long time to get here. For some reason, I don't know, Amazon just delayed everything. But yeah, These are DDR4 3600 megahertz. Like I said, this is a Ryzen AMD CPU. This is a 58, I think it was, 5700G. So this one actually has integrated graphics. I know. We could probably get a better CPU for this price. But one thing though is that if something goes south with the GPU, we still have the graphics integrated from the CPU, so we can still, use this just in case. And then power supply, I went with a Corsair power supply. This is a gold series, and this is an RM650. Pretty good. This should be more than enough for the entire build, and if he wants to add a couple more components, it's okay. I usually make I don't have it here, but I have an Excel spreadsheet where I do the math for how much power is going to be consumed. So this is more than enough for the PC. And then we're going really basic here. I'm going to be installing everything on this NVMe. This is a Crucial NVMe 4 Gen. It's 1 terabyte. So here we're going to have the OS. And then, in my understanding is that he already has another NVMe. So probably what we're going to do, we're going to use the other NVMe to save the games or additional content. I mean, I was recommending just having one NVMe for games, one NVMe for the OS, and then anything else like movies, videos, music, photos, anything that he wanted to save separate, he could use regular HDD. So on a hard drive, probably a Western Union Black or something like that. And then obviously, the motherboard, which is, I guess, the core from the entire PC. This is a B550. I went with a gigabyte, gigabyte motherboard. To be honest, this was the best bang for our buck. Yes, I could probably go with an Asus or an ROG motherboard, but I think this was just pretty enough for what we needed. This is a mini ITX, I think. I know the build is not really for a mini ITX, but it was a pretty good motherboard, so this is why I went with this. And then last but not least, this is the case. This is a Coolmaster? Yeah, Coolmaster Q300L. It's a mid-tier or mid-size tower. He didn't want to go mini ITX or micro or anything like that. I mean, I wanted to do a really small form factor. Probably I'm going to do a build in the future for me, maybe, like for streaming or something like that. I still have to set up a, I want to do a replay PC or a replay station, but I want to do it that is very compact and portable. So I might go that ITX route. But yeah, this is the Coolmaster Q300L. It's a mid-size tower, which is perfect size for what he wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and just open this up, and then we can go ahead and start with the build. I might also need to get something for protection for static shocks. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna have a blade. Usually, I don't use. I don't put everything in the case just yet. What I do is I do a basic component test. Because to be honest, I'm opening everything now. I waited for all the parts to come in before I even try to do or test anything, which I shouldn't, but it is what it is. I just waited for everything. The last thing that came in was the RAM, and obviously I can't even do a boot test without having RAM, unless I would use one of my RAMs. What's up?
It came in again.
Really? I think it's another. Okay, so where is it?
There.
Okay, so I'll be back in a minute. Be back. Okay, so I returned. So let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to set this build up. Just bearing for a minute. Okay, so as I was saying, this is the 300QL. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. And I usually don't put everything inside the case just yet. So I'm just gonna take it out, and then we're gonna open the other boxes, figure how everything is working. Put together the motherboard with the CPU and the RAM, and just do a boot test, pretty much. After we do the boot test and we ensure that everything looks good, the next step will be to then start putting everything into the PC, into the case. This is a really straightforward build, so I'm not doing anything custom or crazy like loops or water cooling or anything like that. My friend, actually, he was very specific on, he wanted to do a budget build and he didn't want to go too crazy on it. Like, he would like the looks of it, but the price tag beside that is not that easy. Okay, why is it that I cannot open? This is why I don't do unboxings anymore. What's going on? Let's see. Okay. Oh, so it seems like the box was torn apart, and that's why I wasn't able to open it. Let's see. No? Here. And here. Ah, look at that. Okay. So as I was saying, this is a mid-sized tower, pretty lightweight, not too crazy. I think I've already done another build with a similar case. As you can see, it's not that big. It's pretty easy to handle, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of ruckus, you know, all around it. It's really straightforward. It has a glass on the side, so you can see all the insides of the PC. And then for ventilation, everything is open pretty much. It has perforations around the entire case, and then it has this little magnetic mesh. You can put one on the top, and then the other one you can just go ahead and put it in the front for pretty good airflow. And since we're not going to be doing any work on anything crazy, I didn't buy any additional fans either. So I'm going to be using the stock fan from the power supply, from the GPU, and from the CPU, which now that I'm, okay, for a minute, you know what, let's just go ahead and check it. Usually when you buy the G versions, right, the ones that have integrated graphics, they should come with a stock cooler. Because I didn't buy anyone, so I didn't buy another one. So there you go. So it has its stock cooler. I have my fingers crossed though. So here you go. This is what you got. You can use the stock one here, and then this is the AMD CPU. I definitely cannot get the camera closer. It's okay for whenever I have another stream, and we'll do better. Okay, and then. That's the CPU for us. Let's see, RAM. Dum, 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 dum. So this is what, 32 gigs. I was gonna go only 16 gigs, because for gaming, you don't need to go any further. But if you wanted to do anything else, if you wanted to try out, I don't know, rendering or editing videos or just doing something different, I needed more temporary memory, then 32 gigs will do the kick. And the thing is that for this version, this model, 32 gigs made total sense. It wasn't that expensive. So that's why I went with this one. What else we got? We also have, this is nothing to be like, oh wow, it's just an NVMe. It's a Crucial NVMe. It's not in the expensive side. I would have gotten a Samsung or something like that, but this is what we got. So we could keep it in the budget. What else? This is the power supply. For some strange reason, I feel like I'm opening this box the wrong way. Like, haven't you noticed how, like Corsair, Coolmaster, like everyone has like a different way of opening their boxes. Like some of them, you slide them up. Others, you pretty much bring them from the side. So one of the things that I always do when I'm purchasing power supplies, when I get the PSU units, I don't know, I always go modular now. Doesn't matter how restrained your budget is, you should never say never. You should never go cheap on your PSU. This is like the very first shield of defense in your build is a power supply. If you're low in energy or you're low in voltage or not enough juice, then things are not going to be nice, and that could potentially affect your other peripherals or components. So I usually want to, not that you have to go extra expensive with these, but just find a good PSU. So this one here is the RM650. It's gold standard, and the thing is that it's modular. I just hate having all those yellow, red, and green and black cables that you can't really do anything with these. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use the connections that I truly need. What else we got here? This is the GPU. I know I'm leaving the motherboard for last because that's the first thing that I'm going to be testing in a minute. So let's see, live chat. Hey, what's up, DK? I thought you were going to be watching a movie, unless you already did. So yeah, this is the GPU. This is a RTX 3060. Not a cheap GPU, but it's not that expensive either. I think it's the right mid-tier GPU for 2024. Obviously, you could go with Generation 4, 4060 or whatever, 4080. But yeah, man, I'll just go ahead and use this one. This is a 12 gig DDR6 GPU. And then obviously, trying to take advantage of the newer generations of motherboards, this PCIe Gen 4. So that should do pretty good. Yeah, yes, Delroy. Modular is the norm. I don't go with stock PSUs anymore. Like, probably my first or second build, I used the regular PSUs, those cheapo PSUs. But after I did my build with modular, for the first time I used a modular, I'm like, nah, man, there's no way to go back. And then this one here, this is the GPU, which care because I have to get my anti-shock things in a minute, but here it is, GPU. We also went with this is the funny thing. So I went with small components because he didn't want to take much of a footprint. But then when I told him, let's go ITX, mini ITX, so it's going to be a smaller form factor, he said he wanted something that small. So we had gotten all the other parts, right, which, as you can see, they're small. Even the motherboard, in a minute when I open it, you're going to see it's pretty small. But then the case, it's medium. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That means that you have a better airflow because there's a lot of space within the case. But I don't know. The mini ITX look pretty slick. They tend to be smaller and they look fancy, and you can just have them in your desk or your table beside your monitor or your TV. Yeah, this is the UPU. And then last but not least, the motherboard, as I mentioned, a Gigabyte B550. So it's an AM4 socket. This is for AMD, and we're going to be using the Ryzen 5700G CPU. We could have gone with something higher, but you know, we want to keep ourselves responsible with the budget. So this is included SATA cable, which we're not going to be using anyways. And then the I/O shield. You know how you realize that you have expensive motherboards? It all depends on your I/O shield. Well, I don't know if it all depends on your I/O shield, but this is a basic I/O shield. It's just a little plate. Usually, the fancy ones come with an I/O shield. They have all the labeling, the names, and everything with color and logos and all that cool stuff. And it has like a little padding. This is just straight aluminum. And then here's the motherboard, which we're going to take out in a minute. What else we have here? Instructions. I do read my instructions, to be honest, even though I've been doing this for ever, I guess. I still read my manuals. I'm not going to bore you in the live stream reading them, but I'm just going to quickly squint through them just to see if I see anything that is different. Now, another reason why I got this motherboard is, I don't know if you can see it, but in the box it says, this is AMD Ryzen 5000 desktop ready. They make the emphasis in that is because there was a time when the motherboards the socket will support the CPU, but they needed a firmware update to be able to support certain generations from the Ryzen CPUs. So you would have to do a BIOS update. And the funny thing is that the only way you can do a BIOS update is by booting the motherboard, but you needed a CPU. So, well, you needed everything else to boot up the motherboard. So you would have to use that motherboard with another CPU that is compatible with the motherboard, so that then you can, put in a thumb drive or something and then update the BIOS so that it can support the newer generations of CPUs, and then bring over the original CPU that you wanted to use to get it to boot up. It's crazy. Anyways, that's because you had older motherboards using newer CPUs. Well, these come already ready for those new CPUs, so we don't have to do all that crap. I know, right? Nice GPU, yeah. I wish I had one of those too, I guess. I'm still using my old GTX 6. No, sorry, it's not a 66. That was the old one. I'm still using a GTX 1070, I think. I mean, I don't have that build with me right now, but I think it's a 1070 Ti or 1070, and that's what I use for gaming. Right? Well, debatable. It's not really gaming. I built a replay machine because I do live stream on the side. So I wanted to do like a replay machine where I have like OBS and I can distribute all the recordings at the same time and then create instant replay. So I'm using that GPU. I want to refurbish my gaming PC because my gaming PC, the motherboard died. That was like 10 years old PC or more, maybe. So the motherboard was just kind of cranky, got to the point that it didn't boot anymore. So I took that CPU and I built a NAS. So I got I gotta show you that build, but I got like a mini, or micro ITX. I put it in a NAS type case, which is the Jonesbow N1. I'm gonna add the link in the description below, so you can go ahead and watch it, or you can check out to see the build. And eventually, I'll go ahead and post how that NAS was built or how it looks. But yeah, I used my CPU on that one. That was a Intel i7 Ivy Bridge. I mean, pretty old, 10 plus years old. And then it had to be DDR3 because my motherboard, my old motherboard was DDR3. So I didn't have enough cash to get a new set of RAM. So I used all the things that were in my old PC, my gaming PC, and put it into the NAS. And then I installed Unraid there. So I have like Plex and a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's where I'm starting to save my content. I used to have individual external USB drives. So I want to do something that was more streamlined. So now I have a NAS where I can store all my videos that I record. So yeah, so this is the motherboard, B550 MK. And this is from Gigabyte. As you can see, right, it's small, but it's not super small, but it's good enough for this case. Okay, so let's start with the basic testing. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the CPU, the RAM, and the power supply. That's about it. And then from there, we're gonna go ahead and test it, figure out to see if everything boots up properly. I do not have a monitor, so we have to MacGyver that thing in a minute. Maybe connect that to the TV or something. Just give me a minute. Let's put away, we have a bunch of boxes here. Rip what? Rip what? Oh, my PC? Yes, man. That gaming PC was like forever. It was, yeah, I think it was 13 years. And still going strong. What I did is, I still have my SSDs, but I'm just not using it, right? And then afterwards, after I got a couple of gigs streaming, what I did is, I got another motherboard, a pretty cheap one, an ASRock motherboard. I mean, pretty good, just that it's not expensive. And then that ASRock motherboard, I put together with an AMD Ryzen, another G series, but I don't remember, it was a 5600, 57, don't remember. But that GPU, another motherboard, new RAM, just a few bucks. I just probably invested like 300 maybe, and then one NVMe, like 300 bucks. And then I used my old case, the old GPU, the 1070 Ti, because I wasn't able to use it in the NAS. So I put all that together, and then there's where I build my replay machine. Let me just put this on the side. We don't need this. Oh no, instructions. Okay. This is the case instructions. Put that there. Corsair. This is the PSU, which we're going to test in a minute. Okay. The best way is to rough it up without the no, not at all. So yes, I could definitely do this without the manual, but I honor my beginnings. So I always look into the manuals. I read through them just to make sure that I'm not missing out on anything. It's better to be sure than to be sorry if I do something that I'm not supposed to. So this is the motherboard. Just give me a second. The thing on the thing, no, this is not what it says. This is the other one. Installation guide. So every single time manuals are getting slimmer and slimmer, shorter and shorter. So remember when we used to get a big old booklet for the motherboard manual. This time, this here is just saying, for real, didn't give you a manual? Interesting. How to put in the PSU. optical drive. Come on, we don't even use those anymore. Why? Yeah, Xiamoi, NVMe. The 12-pin. Yep. RAM, CPU, GPU. Yeah, doesn't say much. Hey, but I kept true to myself, and I went through the manual. It's pretty short. So, what's up? Another one? Yeah, I think I saw another one somewhere there too. So I'll be back in a minute again, and I'm gonna go ahead and install the CPU. I don't know what they're covering, but you activated them. Because I'm supposed to be Spider-Man. So yeah, just bear with me. I am not killing a spider, just putting the spider away. Okay, I'm back. All right, so we already have the CPU. Let's see, what do you say, Leroy? My motherboard manual was a damn, I told you, so that's usually how it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an actual booklet, and it had like literally the RAM setup, how you're supposed to set up RAM and all that stuff. Now, I think when you have more complex motherboards, or I guess more expensive motherboards, is when you get the booklet. But this is the first time that I'm only getting one sheet of paper for a manual. Yeah, I'm not missing out on this one. Don't know. Anyways, so let's go what we're gonna be doing right now. So we got the CPU, right? I have a little strap on my ankle, so that way we don't have any kind of static charges. Static charges are deadly for PCs, and especially when you're building them. So usually what you want to do is use a little pointy corner to the socket, and just give me a minute. There it is. So how I know that probably this motherboard is, I mean, they try to do the best with the least, I guess. Usually the fancier ones, especially for Intel, they have like a cover and everything, and then when you put in the CPU and you lock it down, it kind of pops out the cover. This motherboard doesn't have much. You know, it has capacitors, the RAM slots, the GPU, which is the PCI Express connection. What in the world is this? Oh, so the NVMe connector, they actually have a little cover. Wow, this is the first time I see this. And I have to pull it. Wait a minute. You see, manual makes sense now. Or not, because it doesn't say anything. Yeah, it doesn't explain, but it has like a little cover that looks like a little hook that you have to pull out. I might take a photo and then just share it. Let the spider bite me. I would if the spider was radioactive, but it's not, so I'm not even gonna try it. Okay, so this is the CPU. And we're gonna go ahead and use the RAM. So, fun fact, it doesn't really say so. It just says install memory. For real, they need to get better manuals here. But what I was going to say is that usually the composition that you want to use is you want to go, depending on what type of memory you have, they usually tend to have, if you have 4 slots, then you want to use both of the same color. There's like a rule that you usually go away from the CPU. So you use the 2nd slot RAM and then the 4th slot RAM instead of 1 and 3. This man doesn't say anything, but that's usually what the deal. So that's what we're going to do. So we have here in slot 2, what you want to do is just go ahead and slide it in, and it should click. Or not. There you go. Click, and then we're going to use the 2nd one. And there we go. So CPU, RAM, and I am not going to test the hard drive just yet. I just want to go ahead and try out our power supply. This is the modular one that we're going to be using today. And let's open this bad boy. So, hey, let me know in the comments. You can go ahead and chat. What was your first branded power supply that was modular? Let me know. By the way, mine, I usually try to stay faithful. So my first modular power supply was a Corsair AX 1200. Yeah, I went a little overboard with the PSU, but it's because I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff there. I had like water cooling, double GPUs. It's just crazy. Don't try that at home. Okay, so we have the 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, the 24, 24, 3-ish power supply connector, and then you have on this side what goes to the power supply from the motherboard. So this should match something similar to the 24, just that in this case, because there's 2 different connectors, you just look for your PSU for the section that says motherboard. You plug in one, and right beside it, usually you plug in the 2nd power strip. So it would look like so. And then that thing go in the other thing, which is a 12-pin connector, similar, usually tends to be close to some capacitors, close to the RAM. So just look for the one that has the little clip-in corner. There we go. And that's almost it. Now you need also a connector, power source for the CPU. So I don't know if you know, but even though you're powering the motherboard, you also need another source connection to power the CPU that will go and give you an uninterrupted source to the CPU for the booting part of it. So usually that is a 6 to 8 connector. Oh, the other cool thing about these that are modular, they tend to label the cables. So you would see that some of them would say like CPU or PCI. There you go. So this is CPU. As I mentioned, is a 8-pin connector, and pretty much it does matches. The modular PSU has also a section that says PCU. it can get a little confusing because the sizing or the shape of the connectors are similar to the PCI ones. So you would see that they would say like PCI/CPU or something like that because the connectors are the same. 8 connectors, 8-pin connector. Let's see. So whichever came with the old PCs, that the monitor still had humpbacks. Oh, humpbacks. MSN Messenger, humpbacks. You mean the CRT monitors, the old CRT monitors that they were, you know, big. They had a lot of trunk, I guess. Yeah, those were the good old days. I started using computers maybe when there was Windows 3.1, I think. And then after that, I hop over to Windows 95, which was the first graphic interface implemented to Windows. And it was hell of a lot of time just installing the initial OS. It had like 80 something. I don't remember right now, but it had a whole bunch of floppy disk. Okay, so we got the PSU with both power sources, one for the motherboard, one for the CPU. And we have our RAM and we have our CPU installed. We don't need anything else. I'm gonna get an HDMI cable and I'm going to connect our, how do I do this? So I'm gonna try a little something crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and get my ATEM and connect it to the streaming computer. And I can share you what we see on the screen. And I don't have a monitor, so I think that's gonna work. If I could find it. Okay, so here's the ATEM. Yeah, I usually use an ATEM Extreme ISO for bigger productions. This is the first ATEM one. This is like the first Blackmagic product that was it the first one? Probably the first Blackmagic product that I got. Pretty good, pretty nifty. I wish I had the other version though. This one is the very basic one. It only allows you to switch inputs, up to 4 inputs, and doesn't have anything else. Just give me a minute. Let me go ahead and plug this in, and we can see what we have on. To see our monitor, we can use the stream as a monitor to check out how it boots. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm giving you my back, but I'm trying to put this together so we can have a DIY monitor. Okay. Here's that. And oh, forgot. I gotta put together the ATEM first. Okay, so that's the ATEM. I need an HDMI cable. Be back. right, so HDMI cable. Yeah, this is all happening live. I just decided that I was gonna go ahead and share what we got on the screen right away. So I think it's like so. Source, go to HDMI. That's display port. Here it is, HDMI. We need a USB cable. There we go. Hey, what's up, Akuma-san? Okay, so I think I got everything together. So right now I have the ATEM, which just say, let's say a capture card. So I have a capture card getting the video output from the new build, and now we need to add it to OBS so that we can go ahead and add it into the stream. So let me get my MX Master. Let's add a new source. I can barely see here, but is this about video capture? Sure. Yeah, that's me again. Probably want to do this. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right here. Yep, that works. Don't worry, we'll edit that out in a minute. Okay, let's see. So I had to look it up. So ATX 340 80 plus gold 850. What's the brand though? Yeah. Hey, what's up, Akuma-san? So, what kind of shout out are you looking for? Are you talking about the shout out video, or are you talking about you want a shout out? So, we need to power on the PC. So we're gonna try one more thing. So let's see. Boom. There's some power. Obviously nothing is coming on because we need the I/O. So I'm gonna do something that I usually don't recommend doing it. But hey, did I put this in the wrong side? Probably want to do it here. What about now? There we go. So if you put together the positive and the negative from the motherboard I/O panel, you could, I don't know if I want to say short, but you could trigger the, you could close the circuit starting the PC. So come here and I'll look for power. And one more thing that we need to do just before we go all crazy here and things explode is, and I didn't mention it though, brand, oh, XPG, okay, I got you though, Roy. So, XPG, they have been going really quiet. They don't make a lot of fuss. They're not those fancy brands that you hear about them a lot. So the last thing that we need to build or put together here is our fan, our stock cooler. So you should never boot this thing without having a cooler. So a miscalculation. So I have to figure this out in a minute. So it came with the stuck brackets for for any advanced cooler, but we're using the stock one, which only has a little 4 pins for the screws. So that means that I have to unscrew the ones that are here currently, and then put this one in, and remove the base one. So just give me a minute to I get a screwdriver. Okay, let's get a screwdriver. Okay, here we go. So we got a screwdriver now, and just in case, I'll show you when I take it off. So, since we're going for a very simple, like if we had a special cooler, a water cooler or anything like that, or an aftermarket fan, usually those use a different type of bracket connection. And then it would use the ones that are come installed, which are something like this. And then they have like a little hook and you can put it together. But not this one, because this is the stock one. So what we do is we leave the shrouds there until we remove the entire screws. And then we replace those with the stock cooler screws, which they have like a push mechanism that you just turn them and it pushes in and locks in. And then it has a look like a little spring. So that's that. We're gonna go ahead and and this is the back plate that ended up there. We want to keep that back plate, so that way the stock cooler screws can lock in with those. So we're going to come in here. There we got it. I'm gonna start screwing in. I usually screw in a cross matter, so I would do, I don't know, if we count the screws like 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess, then I'll do 2, 3, 1, 4. That way I can evenly distribute the pressure, then just push a little bit so it can lock in with a bracket. There we go. So that was 2, 3, 1, 4. Go back to 2, make sure that everything is locked in. Go back to 3, make sure that everything is locked in. Yeah, don't need to go like super strong on this. It's just make sure that it's tight to the touch. Oh yeah. PSU is powered off, so it's not even connected, by the way. And then, so we got CPU, fan, stock cooler. RAM, and that's about it. And then obviously the PSU. So I put in the fan socket connector to the motherboard so it can get some kind of juice, so it can cool off the CPU. And I'm gonna go ahead and connect the power supply. Let's see. Okay, so that's power there, and we got some energy. You know, something that I noticed with this power supply, I mean, this is not a super extra fancy one, but it doesn't have the self-test. So usually you would have some PSUs that would have like a little button that it will start spinning the fan, and it would show you red, yellow, or green, depending on if it's functional or not. So we're just gonna trust our instincts. That has power, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and close the circuit for power here in the I/O. And there we go. So I close the circuit here for power. I see the PSU turning on. I think I did the reset one. Let's see. Nah, there we go. So hopefully, no video? Dum, 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 dum. There we go. So I can't see a thing from here. And now that I think about it, I have no keyboard. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so I need a Bluetooth keyboard. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so that's pretty good. I have no keyboard here right now, or I don't see any keyboard right now. So we're just gonna go ahead and power it off. And since I feel confident that everything that we have here is okay, and we're gonna go ahead and add the NVMe. We're gonna probably add the GPU after you put it into the PC case, and then install the PSU there, and we can probably call it a day. Okay. All right, so PSU is off right now. I take away the power source. Then I got our NVMe. These come with a little screw that you could use. Fun fact, our awesome manual doesn't really tell us which NVMe port to use, or which one should be the initial one. So it says dual NVMe PCIe for blah blah blah. So I'm gonna trust my gut. I'm gonna go with the one that is closer to the CPU. Unless the motherboard says something different. Let's see. M2A, M2B. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be this one. What am I supposed to do with you? What in the world? So this is new for me. Have you ever seen that little, it has like a little stud that goes inside the screw hole for the NVMe. So what am I supposed to do with this? Just turn it around? Okay. And it doesn't really say. It just says install your drives. Yeah, they're not really good with their documentation. Okay, so pretty much NVMe's are straightforward, nothing too crazy. They're similar to the old modules that you used to install in laptops. So pretty much is just put them diagonally and then just press them down. They will connect, or they will close the circuit there, and then just screw them together. Hey, está cool el picture in picture. Gracias, gracias. Sí, nada más que tuve que apagar la computadora para poder instalar esto. Oh, I need a small screwdriver, so I'll be back. It doesn't fit. What is this rubbish? That's my cousin. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Genie? I need to get another screwdriver. Or, no way. You got to be kidding me. Is that how you do it now? Yeah, I think that's how you do it now. Okay, this is weird, but I did not use the screw. So this motherboard, interesting. This motherboard has a little plastic stud that covers the spot where the screw goes. So the fun part is that I was about to cut it out. Good thing I didn't do it. So this is the screw that comes with the crucial NVMe SSD drive. It's a really tiny screw, and the normal way of doing things is actually just, you know, removing whatever's there, screwing it, and it'll just stay fastened. But guess what? This little plastic stud, I have to explain this afterward, but this little plastic stud can't be removed unless you cut it out, and I think if you cut it out, you break it. And what you do is that you put in the NVMe, you return the stud, the plastic stud that has a little cover overlapping the NVMe, and it holds the NVMe back into place without having to use a screw. So in theory, it's supposed to be a tool-less installation, I guess. It didn't say that anywhere, but that's that, I guess. So okay, we have the NVMe, we have the fan, the stock cooler with the CPU, RAM, power. We're just going to go ahead and put everything into the case. We're going to put the PSU into the case. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and add the GPU. Try to boot it together all over again. Make sure that the GPU has video. I think I'm going to hide this for a minute while we put the rest together, and then we're gonna come back in a minute. Yeah, we know about this. So unplug this. And yeah, this is how I usually do it. If you don't have a testing bench, I guess, if you don't have a test bench, you can always use the same box that comes with the motherboard and the anti-shock plastic, like so, to make sure that one, it doesn't slide, and two, right, you don't have all the pins that are at the bottom of the motherboard touching anything else that shouldn't be touched. So let's put this on the side, and let's get the case. So pretty much, this is pretty tight. Or am I getting weak? So, okay. You win. Yeah, they were pretty tight. So this is the tempered glass face. To be honest, I kind of like this case. It's not that big, easy to transport. I mean, I would rather have it smaller though, but that works. So now we can, how was it? Come over here. Oh no. I know, right? There's nothing. Where's the RGB? Sorry, not sorry. No RGB. We are in a tight budget. So, no RGBs. But to be honest, because of the 650 power supply, that is an easy feat. So after you have the build, whenever you get, more resources, you just need to get probably a couple of fans with RGB, and that's it. That's more than enough. And if you want, you can get a what was the name of it? A Corsair Commander, and just get some LED strips. You can put them in and control them from your CPU with the Corsair. I think it's Corsair IQ, something like that. And it works pretty well. I used to have something like that in my gaming PC, but I didn't have RGB LEDs. I just had like strips with one color. But I could determine that, like, whenever I was gaming, because of the Commander and the IQ app, my PC will react to what was happening in the game and what was I doing. So pretty much if I was bleeding out in a game, like for example Overwatch or something like that, the computer would start blinking red, letting me know that something is going on. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so we're almost done. We're gonna go ahead and open up the back of this. Do I really want to open up the back? Yes, I do. So the back, which is the other half, it has some rubber base, I guess, feet. So you can put this computer sideways if you wanted to. But I think it looks better standing up vertical. Okay, this is 2. Don't worry, guys. We're almost done. 3. And 4. Boop. So this is the back of the case. Pretty open. I'm going to go ahead and remove the little baggie with all the cable loop for the I/O, and it also has like a little shrouds for the motherboard, which they're already, some of them are already included. It has some straps, and what is this? Oh, an additional screw for the power supply. Yeah, because power supplies don't come with screws. Actually, the case actually includes the screws for the power supply. RGB, better performance confirmed. Definitely. Actually, you get a couple extra FPS if you have RGB. So, power supply. I remember back in the day when power supplies used to be at the top of the PC. I don't know why, but chon 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 chon. Okay. Because there's no instructions, I have to kind of wing it sometimes. I have to remove the little plate here. Hold up, wait a minute. Yeah, sometimes I gotta play it by ear because apparently this build has no manuals. And apparently a few stuff don't wanna fit. Bam, 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 we know. Yeah, PSU, I'm already doing that, yeah. Cool story. I did say I read through the manuals, so. That's 2. So this this case actually has a holder for the PSU. So if you don't remove the holder, the PSU is not going to go in. It's not going to fit. There we go. Will that be my holder? This is the holder. So now, put you in, like so. Oh, wait, gotta put in another screw. Yeah, this has a different kind of setup. It's kind of weird. So I have to screw this, and then it has like an extra space behind, which kind of protects the cables from the power supply. So. Okay, some technical difficulties here, trying to open up a plastic bag. There we go. Okay, so I'm kind of used to building PCs, so I kind of recognize the screws by their shape and how they look. So already when I see them, I know, oh, this is a case screw for a power supply or for the motherboard. So we're gonna go ahead and put together the power supply. This is why I was saying that it's kind of weird. I am matching all the spots. So that's that there. Again, I usually, everything that I screw for the PC, I screwed in a cross manner. So 2, 3, 1, 4, or 1, 4, 2, 3, however you want to call it, just to make sure that you got the same tension on every corner, and that way it's even. And then everything starts falling into place. Oh. Yeah. There you go, little one. Bam. Bueno, esta computadora es para, ya voy, para un amigo, para jugar. Específicamente para jugar. Para eso lo pidieron. Pero con esta máquina puedes editar videos también. Puedes hacer diseño gráfico. Ahora sí. Puedes hacer diseño gráfico. Pero el propósito inicial de esta máquina es para poder jugar. Específicamente, la persona que lo utiliza quiere jugar Call of Duty. Y la máquina que, eso lo dije al principio, ¿no? Que la máquina que estaba utilizando tenía problemas en la GPU. Bueno, en realidad toda la máquina le estaba dando problemas, pero inicialmente era por problemas de la GPU que estaba creando artefactos. Eso de artefactos es, bueno, le salían como unas manchas, unas cosas en la pantalla. Le salían unas manchas, unas rayas en la pantalla cada vez que quería jugar, cada después de cierto tiempo. Yo en lo personal considero que, bueno, pues Call of Duty como tal no fue programado de la mejor manera, pero bueno, es un juego que a la gente le gusta, ¿no? Entonces, hicimos un montón de cosas, intentamos todo lo que se comparte en línea acerca del tema. Hicimos hasta reimaging, reinstalamos Windows por completo, el sistema operativo, y aún así el problema persistía, cambiamos de drivers. Entonces era como una combinación extraña ahí donde esa máquina como tal siempre le mostraba artefactos, pero adicional a eso también tenía problemas, se crasheaba, nada, un montón de cosas que tal vez, o sea, una persona que quiere usar su máquina no quiere usar su máquina para tener que estar arreglándola cada rato, ¿no? Pero bueno, ese era el tema. So now, with this PC, he should be able to game without any issues. It's just a basic gaming build, not too expensive. We're able to get the majority of the parts in Amazon. And unfortunately, no RGB. So there we go. That's the PSU. Yeah, I'm getting used to this, speaking and building at the same time. So there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and route the cables through the back. That's one. And Come here. Get over here. That's 2. We'll tie them together afterwards. And these cables go out to the back. So that's about it. So now we have the PSU installed here. This is what I was saying, that it was kind of weird in the back. It has like a, it's not even a riser, but it has like a little plate that goes before that, so that I guess if you had a smaller PSU, then it would just fit in this hole. But because we have this PSU that is bigger, it actually has a plate that holds that PSU into this one. So yeah, okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and install the motherboard, the rest of the fan, and then the I/O shield also needs to go before everything else. So, I mean, I don't know how you install I/O shields. I don't know if you just put them into the I/O and the motherboard, but what I do is I take them and just clip them on. I clip them on into the case. I already know that usually these are supposed to be the ones that go at the bottom, and then these here are the ones that go on the top, because this is the keyboard for the PS2 input, and then USB inputs here, Ethernet and HDMI, and then audio go at the bottom. So just put them the other side, bring it in, put them into place, and then just push until you hear a little click, which that is not the click. There you go, that is the click you want to hear. There you go. And now we're going to install the motherboard. Taking out the fan cable. The good thing is that we already have everything else pre-installed. So, because we already put the motherboard, the motherboard with the CPU and everything, so that's pre-installed. I'm just making sure that I have all the shrouds here. This case, as I mentioned, it works for a micro ATX and also a mini ITX. So this motherboard here is a mini ITX motherboard. We're gonna go ahead and put it in. Wait a minute, just before I put it in, I noticed that there's only 2 shrouds for the motherboard, because I think this is expecting a mini ITX. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the other shrouds that go to hold a bigger motherboard. Where did you guys go? Oh yeah, yep. So I'm not familiar with case sizes, but this one is ATX or an MATX. So this case, that's what I was saying, this case is a micro ATX, but it also fits on an ITX, and then ITX can be a mini ITX. So if I have this is an ITX motherboard, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Sorry, this is an micro ATX. That's why it kind of floats there. It's not that big. It's like mid-size. But if I had a smaller motherboard, a mini ITX, it tends to be like this big. It's just probably about, I don't know, 6 inches width and probably 7 inches length. Those can also fit here. That's why it only had 2 different shrouds where you could put in the screws. So what I'm doing is I'm adding additional ones so that when we want to put in the motherboard, right, they fit. So, well, you can't see it, but this motherboard, this case has an M and an I. So M is for the micro ATX and the I is for the ITX. So right now, I'm putting the shrouds where it says M. So that way, where it says M is where the holes for the motherboard are going to go ahead and fit. So when you bring in the motherboard, it has those shrouds to put in the screws. That's one there. Here goes the other one. Now lately I've been building more mini ITX, and to be honest, the end result is just beautiful. Well, depending on how you want to use it, if you want to brag about, you know, having your RGB and having your computer visible to everyone, that's cool. But if you want it to be slick and nice, unnoticed, then by all means, go mini ITX. Just give me a minute. Can't see. Go mini ITX. Mini ITX works pretty well. I can put that in a shelf, and it just looks amazing. Yeah, I'm missing 2 shrouds here. So it looks amazing because you can put that in your desk and it doesn't even look like a computer. Or you could even just go ahead and put it in your living room. Okay, I'm being very patient here. Yeah, the mechanics to put in these shrouds are not pretty good. That's kind of lame, but well, that's what we got. As a matter of fact, I think what I can do is just gonna hold in another screw, put it in, and then screw that one in to the other one. There we go. Oh, look at that. I think I'm kind of smart. Just a little. Now I thought I was smart, but these guys were smarter than me. So they gave me a tool for that. But it would be better if they would have put it in the manual. Okay, so let's put in the other one. Okay. The other one. Yeah, this is what happens when you have like double purpose motherboards. You have to set it up. Yeah, it's still fun though. Oh. By the way, I'm sorry, I should have more than one camera set up, but for now this will suffice. Okay. Okay, I'm almost done. So I had to put in like about 5, 6 additional screws so that we can fit the motherboard. Okay, the last one. Okay, I'm missing one now, but it's not going in. Where is my... There we go. Okay, we're almost done, guys. Okay, last screw. And that's it. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in the motherboard. I'm trying to speed up things now because it's getting late. And I'm getting sleepy though. So motherboard going in. Just make sure that it goes to the I/O pretty much. And make sure that it falls into the right spots. And now pretty much just match the screws. Like other cases with other motherboards would just go ahead and they would just fit, and they have like a little little knob there that would make them match. PC building is fun until your cable management until you reach your cable management. That was hell on earth for me. Yo, well, it depends on, I would say it depends on the case. So if the case is a small form factor that makes life difficult, by the way, now, this is one of the complexities of building a PC. So right now I'm putting this together, but it's not matching the screws don't match. Exactly. So now I'm moving them so they can match. But yeah, cable management can be difficult if it's a small form factor. So if you have like a little, the ones that I was saying, right, the micro ITX, those are like hell to do cable management. And every single thing, like the footprint, the clearance level, is really small. Like CPUs can barely fit. You can't use stock coolers. You have to use extra thin coolers like Noctuals or stuff like that, that they have a small clearance that they can just fit into the case. Not with this one though. This one has a lot of space to do cable management. So something's happening. So I have two screws that go there, one that go on the top, then one that goes on the bottom, one that goes in the middle, and then you got one that goes on the top, one that goes there, then one that goes there, and then one is missing, which I am okay with. Wasn't there any more? Oh, guess what? There's one more. There's one more. I mean, you really don't need it, but might as well install it if you have it. I like using all my screws. Okay, we go back in again. Align it with the I/O. Drop it in. And it should all fall in place. Okay, perfect. There we go. So now it's just installing now. These screws are kind of scary. Yep. Yeah, also, when you're doing cable management, what you want to do as well is probably go custom cables. Stock cables tend to be bigger, thicker, and they're not really easy to handle. But at least with custom cables, you can ensure that you just use the cables that you need. They're extra thin, they look better, and they just fit wherever you need to. Almost done. I got 3 screws, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to go. Okay. Almost done. Yeah. Okay, what else we're missing? So, LOL. Interesting. So they gave me longer screws, and I wonder why. Yeah, those longer screws are for the SSDs. And for the power supply. I already did that. Wow, they recommend to put in the extra fans in another side. What is C though? Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so so they only gave me 4 screws for these, but then they give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws with letter C. So those are the bigger screws. Okay. So here in this one, we want to put in one of these. Yep. Almost done, almost done. Okay, that's that. So we're gonna put in the other one here. So what kind of games do you install when you build your new computers? Or as a matter of fact, what do you install after Windows in your new builds? I'm just curious. Do you use any special tools or you install everything from scratch? Okay. Ooh. Can't see. Okay. Screw here, screw here. Okay, another screw missing there. Ow. Okay. Okay, what else are we missing? So apparently one of the screws is not hooking up with the shroud. So I'll have to remove the other screws, which I didn't want to. But if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it correctly, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, remove the screws again. Figure out why is it that that particular screw is not getting into the shroud correctly. And then reinstall the motherboard again. Yeah, this is pretty odd. So I think it has to do with the fact that the shreds needs to be they need to be installed manually. They don't come pre-built or pre-installed, so they kind of hold. They don't stay fit, so they get unscrewed from the back, which makes things more difficult to handle. So what I gotta do there is pretty much from both ends use the tool to remove them and then tie them up again to the case. There we go. So that's one. And then I need to loosen out the second one. The bad part is that I need to reinstall the shreds because they were not connecting. Probably tighten them up a little bit harder. That way they don't drop off like they did just now. Sometimes I feel like cases, even though they were made with intention of installing certain things, like they make it harder to install certain screws. Yeah, you don't go here. Go away. Oh, that was my phone. Okay, one more time. Set it up with the IO. Okay, sitting tight and push. Okay, so that's one. Yeah, I like to do the corners first as well, because the corners set up where they're going to be standing. There you go. And they don't need to really be too tight, just tight enough to be set in place. I just put them to regular resistance, so as soon as I feel that they're tight enough and that it's not loose or they're not wobbling, then that's tight enough. Now I'm actually using my thumbs, not even using the entire fist to tighten it up. Okay, so we're almost done. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm missing 2. Seven, and then our last one, 8. There you go. So that's the motherboard. It's already installed. It doesn't need to be removed. Fan, CPU. So now there's a pass-through for USB 3.0. So I'm going to go ahead and use that same cable that comes in with the case and that should install our 3.0. There you go. So 3.0 is in. Don't need a SATA connector right now. Just need the I/O, the fan. So I'm looking for a secondary fan connector. Chassis, system fan, CPU fan, and that will do. So there's no other one. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one as the I really need to do something about that cable management when I'm done. Okay, almost done in here. Okay. I'm actually hiding the fan cable behind the PSU. So it doesn't really affect the build. Okay, so that's that. I just need to add in the I/O, the 12-pin connector. I'm also going to move and try to pull out the CPU cable from the bag and bring it over. So I'm just going to turn around the case real quick. And here we got the 12-pin connector, which we're going to thread in up here, which it has a hole specifically for that. And then we also have the 8-pin connector, which is for the CPU power. I'm going to try and bring it up from the top. It should fit. There you go. So it came in. And then I just need the I/O, which is not this one, but this one. Should come in from the bottom anyways. Okay. Coming from the bottom. And audio, which is barely used anymore, but that should come in behind the USB 3.0, passing by to the bottom. And there we got it. I can pull it in from there. I'll just specify audio all the way through. Right, from the back. Okay, so that's our HD audio. Okay, so HD audio is connected. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug in our power, our 12-pin connector. So your face just came in the video, you know, right? You know, right? Your face came in the video, right? So what is the I/O? I/O is input-output interface. So pretty much the back end of the computer. So this is the I/O. The things that are coming out here in the back, where you have the keyboard and mouse connector, the PS2, USB, HDMI, DisplayPort, USB, Ethernet, and the auto jacks. Those are, all those together are known as I/O. Okay, so we're almost done. Just need to put in the also the power button or the case buttons connection, and we should be good. Boom, boom, boom. You got that going there. HD audio, USB 3.0. The 8-pin connector, I did not plug it in, which is going to go next. And these end up being kind of hidden because I routed them from the back. Okay, so last but not least, power. So we need HD LED and reset. Again, can't really see, so. Power LED. So HD LED. Reset. Okay. 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 HD LED. There we go. Reset. Yeah, these guys are not helpful at all. Well, pretty much I got a good idea where they go though, but it would have been helpful. Okay, power goes here. And power switch. Okay. And it's getting oddly silent, but I'm almost done. Oh. Okay. So in theory, we got all that put together. That was a tough one. So we got NVMe, put to place, CPU, RAM, everything else. So the last thing we're missing is just the GPU. So I'm going to do two things first. I'm going to turn it on, power it on, checking that the power buttons are okay without the GPU. After I do that, then I'm going to try and power it off one more time, put in the GPU, and then verify that everything is okay. So I have to disconnect my streaming machine once again so that I can plug in the power supply. Okay. Okay. There we go. And we need video though. How are we going to see if we don't have the video cable connected? So what we want to make sure that we have at least post. So I'm just waiting for it to show up. And there we go, we got some video. So it's, I can't read from here what it says. Okay, so it's asking me for TPM. It's okay. And then the last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and add the GPU. So we're gonna, once again, do this, power off in the back. Also disconnect the power supply. And finishing touch is going ahead and add the GPU. So the GPU, they usually come with a little plastic cover, which apparently I'm going to leave. I don't mind. And we're going to remove this one here. I used to leave these, but I don't leave them anymore. And there's only one I/O or one exit for that one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the little plate in the back. And because this is not a too expensive case, these are not unscrewable, or these are not screw removable ones. These have to go by pressure, so they get attached by the little back plate here. But then these, they get pushed out and then slide up. So these are this way. They're not too fancy. So pretty much they get pushed out. So I just take out two, and those two I take them out because this one has a, yes, yeah, because this one has two output sections there, which is okay. Little plastic here, not helping. Bless you. And there we got it. So the thing is that usually these new GPUs that use more power, need more energy, they do also need to have a, GPU time. So that's the last part of it. These GPU that require more, that are much more performance driven, they require an additional power cable because they need to be juiced up separately. So there's where you use those cables that I mentioned before. Bless you. That I mentioned before, that they are PCIe cables. They are similar as in those for the CPU, which is an 8-pin connector. And then you want to plug those in the upper section of the GPU. So I'm going to go ahead and pass through one of those cables. I think I'm going to bring it from, I want to bring it from the bottom, but I want to hide it a little bit. So I'll figure that out. And then I'm going to also screw the GPU from the back of the plate so it doesn't move. And I think with that we can probably call it a day. So installing the back plate here. I don't need a wobbly GPU. Again, as tight as it needs to be. Thumb strand, don't need to actually use too much force. It's not moving anymore. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the GPU cable. Just give me a minute. Thank you. Of course, Spider-Man cup. Okay, so I want, it's an 8-pin, it's an 8-pin. How can I make it that it doesn't have to be that long? I shouldn't, but what I'm going to do is, these here are PCIe cables, so they tend to have like daisy chaining, so you can have more than one. You can have more than one PCIe device, like, you know, put them together and bridge them. But I don't like how these cables tend to daisy chain like this, because I think they take much more real estate, right? So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to use a CPU cable, which is the same thing as a PCIe cable, because that way that one doesn't have daisy chaining because they're supposed to be for CPUs. So by using those cables, I can go directly to the GPU without any extra cables. Let's see. Hopefully they'll fit or not. For real, I don't want to do that. Let's see, apparently you have to use the PCIe one, which I'm quite certain I don't have to. Yeah, I knew it. It's not that, it's just that it's pretty tight. Battery's going out. Okay, so GPU cable is in. I'm gonna throw it back down, bring it back, and reverse that. Yeah, if you've heard Missy Elliott, you'll know what I'm talking about. So cable goes back, like so. Yep, there you go, straight in. Almost done, almost done. There you go, cable straight going down. Now we return back to connect a PCIe cable. And I definitely there we go. I definitely need a flashlight. So now this is how it looks. I'll do cable management afterwards. I'm just gonna plug in the power. And then I'm gonna put in the HDMI into the GPU. So I'm not using the the discrete integrated GPU. I'm using the actual dedicated GPU that was added. So now we're gonna try to power it on. And we're gonna give some juice to that PSU. What are we missing? Oh. And there goes that. Let's see. Whoa, that was unexpected. PSU. At power, and what are we missing? CPU. Got the 12 volt here. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. So now we got power. There you go. And something with the I/O is not working. Oh, computer's about to power off. Give me a minute. Okay, so I'm back. So my computer lost power, so it went off. So the stream kind of died there, but I think it's still on. There we go. Okay. So there's one more thing. For some strange reason, after installing the GPU, apparently the computer doesn't want to power on. So just wondering if the GPU is actually not working. I need an extension. Probably if I disconnect here, go away. We got power here. Okay, so how they get power, how can I show you? So computer is already powering on. It has a little cute LED there, but I want to power it off for a minute because I want to, it's weird, I put in the CPU cable, which is an 8-pin connector. It should be the same thing, but for some strange reason when I connected it to the GPU it didn't power on. Now that I unplug it, it powers on. That's not normal. So powering off, changing, and I'm going to go ahead and connect a PCIe cable, which I didn't want to, but apparently I'll have to. So I'm going to production. I'm gonna go ahead. My camera operator is saying that I have to raise this, so I'm going to connect this real quick. If I could just put this together. There you go. Put this in, and then pull or remove this one here, and can't see. Okay. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna raise this up again. Power in, and that was it. Apparently, it doesn't like me using the CPU cable. So if we power off the light though, which I think I can do it from here. From there, can you turn off the light, please? I think. No? Yeah? Right there. This is the only RGB that we have. Let me see if I can show you. I got a pretty good close-up, but that's pretty much what it is, right? So the computer is on, and we can see there the RTX 3060. Now, obviously, we're not going to stay any longer trying to install Windows, but pretty much this is the build. I'm going to do a little bit of cable management. I hate that cable there, which shouldn't be there. But as soon as we get that through, then we have a pretty clean setup. GPU. A Ryzen 7 generation 5700 NVMe, some 32 gig of RAM, and pretty much that's what it is. And then we're gonna go ahead and put the glass cover in front of it when we do the cable management. So thanks again for hopping into the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that screen that is there a little. There you go. I know you wanted to see the computer, but that really doesn't matter right now. As soon as we're done, I might do another video, or either a video or a live stream, testing out this computer with some games, okay? So again, this is Eddy04. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.